me come on my. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome back to Sin City Crypto Live. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts, and today, like every single day, we're coming at you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, we have a packed show for you guys. There's so much exciting things happening. We got memes, we got songs, we got Forest, we got charts, we got inflation numbers. We got the SEC again trying to harm investors, trying to say that Voyager, their assets cannot be bought. And we're going to talk about all that and much, much more. But first, I would like to introduce you to your other MC, Big Rob.
Hola, is ya boy, Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take old, boring, and stale information and package it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, here is Sin City Crypto. We don't just talk about trending topics. We don't just bring up pointless memes. We also talk about the price of Bitcoin. It is down a little bit, 23,000.
We going to tank or what?
I don't know, man. What do you think?
PC numbers came out, bro. It ain't looking good. It's looking bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we're still over 23,000.
We are.
Still, I feel pretty good, man.
I feel pretty. You know who doesn't feel pretty good?
Who's that?
Some birds.
Bird.
Now you're a bird guy. Kind of look like a bird, actually. You look like a rooster.
Okay.
So,
That's a turkey.
So this is not crypto related, but I thought it was funny. So you see these trees, and this is the bird who's trying to sleep in this nest. Oh man! And then breaking news. So have you ever? Are you a Chuck E. Cheese fan? I know you probably used to.
Dude, the mascot
right?
for Chuck E. Cheese is literally a rat.
I know.
It's got to be the worst
but
mascot
the pizza
ever.
was good. The games are fun, right?
Was the pizza good? You know what? They
Yeah,
sell
pizza
beer
was
there.
good,
That's
bro.
the one. This is the one.
They had a
upside.
salad bar that was kind of whack, but it was still good, right? And so, breaking news: the SEC currently, they are ordering Chuck E. Cheese to register their tokens as securities. Guys, if you're holding any Chuck E. Cheese tokens, you're in trouble. Hide from Gary Gensler and the SEC. I'm sorry. Wait till you see. We got some news, like I talked about. SEC is now going after Binance and apparently trying not to let him buy Voyager's assets. So if you're a Voyager creditor, if you got money on Voyager, I am sorry. You have been literally dragged through the mud. You have your hopes gone up and your hopes shattered in the same month. And these guys just won't stop. We'll get into all that. But first, let's take a look at what the price of Bitcoin's doing. Robin?
All right. So let's take a look here. We got Bitcoin coming in at 20. Ooh, that's
Sick apps.
it's frozen. Yeah, that's not my laptop. Okay,
Bitcoin coming in frozen.
Take it away, bro.
All right, I guess I gotta do my thing here. All right, Bitcoin coming in at. All right, so first and foremost, let's talk about this market cap. We're barely holding over 1 trillion. We got up to like 1.17. We're to back down to 1.039.997.967.287. Volume is mid, coming in right around 54 billion. Bitcoin dominance up to almost 43%. We haven't looked at that in a while, so it's kind of interesting. But as Robin mentioned, Bitcoin down 2.9% on the 24 hours, down almost 5% over the last 7 days. We saw Bitcoin knock on the $25,000 door and just get that door slammed right in its face. So where are we headed next? Are we going down to 21.5? And are we just consolidating just a little bit here until we break through 25.2? Well, we're in luck because we got our man Forrest and he's going to tell us. ETH under $1,600, which by the way, guys, our next video is on the ETH Shanghai upgrade. Rob, should we give him a sneak peek?
Sure.
Sneak peek. Okay. Let's give the people a sneak peek. We're gonna show you what we've been working on, and it came out really, really good. And so we'll just give you a little sneak peek. I have to go to YouTube Studio. All right. So this video will be made public extremely soon. And so here is just a little snippet for you. To witness one of the biggest changes in Ethereum's history, as the upcoming Shanghai upgrade promises to shake up the network and potentially send prices crashing or soaring. Following the move from proof of work to proof of stake, the next big upgrade in Ethereum's roadmap post-merge is the highly anticipated Shanghai upgrade. Shanghai is an upgrade to the Ethereum blockchain that includes 5 Ethereum improvement proposals, also known. There it is. That's all you get. 30 seconds. Sometimes that's all you need is 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? All right. So everyone's like, well, why is Bitcoin going down? The stock market's crashing. The Dixie's going up. Why? Well, here's why. Key U.S. inflation measure. And by the way, if you have been watching our channel, you would have known this is coming. Talked about this on my Monday night stream. Talked about this on the Tuesday morning stream. Key numbers coming in this week. One of them was PCE. Well, guess what? It came in hotter than expected. Surges at the fastest rate since June. Which, Robin, do we remember what June had for us?
The all-time highs.
That's right.
And,
well, not all-time high, but
decades high.
Decades high. Half a century high. Pretty big deal. 9.1 in June.
Inflation number, yeah.
Yeah, so PCE, the personal consumer expenditures, it's what people spend money on, goods and services. Are people traveling? Are people going to restaurants? Are people buying furniture? Are people buying cars? Are people going to nightclubs? Are people going to Robin's house for coffee? These are all measured in the PCE. Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge rose last month at its fastest pace since June, an alarming sign that price pressures remain entrenched in the U.S. economy and could lead the Fed to keep raising rates well into this year. So, guys, if you thought a rate cut was on the table, wipe it off the table. It ain't there no more. It's gone. It's gone. Friday's report from the Commerce Department showed that consumer prices rose 0.6%, not year over year, month over month, from December to January, up sharply from a 0.2% increase from November to December. So we saw 3x.
No, you know what this feels like?
What does it feel like?
You know, like when you were younger and you got grounded because of bad grades, and then all of a sudden you started getting like better grades, and then parents let you out the house. Like, you can go play with your friends. And then the next report card comes in and you have bad grades again, and then they lock it all down. They're like,
all down, baby.
They're like, you know what? You got a taste of it. You got a taste of the monetary pausing of the inflation. But now, got to tighten it up again and raise some interest rates.
So the report also showed that consumer spending rose 1.8% last month from December after falling the previous month. So, guys, this is not good.
Nope.
Michael James Reagan said, will you scroll down, Kyler? 1 month should not dictate the entire year. Yes, but here's the problem, my friend, is the markets have already priced in 25 basis point rate hike and maybe another 25. That's it. And people think, they assume, and that we're definitely going to get a pause, and we might even get a rate cut this year. And so the Fed wants to look at this and say people are still spending money, people are still investing in assets, risk on assets, the market might want to quell some of those excitement that people have. And right on cue, we check the CME. Well, CME, after this PCE number, where do you think inflation, the rate hikes are going? And this went from, I'm going to make this bigger here. So a month ago, only 16.8% believed there was going to be a 50 basis point rate hike versus 80% saying 25. And now 70-30. 70-30. Actually, a month ago, 16.8% of people thought that we were going to get a pause Only 2.8% of people thought we were going to get a 50 basis point, and 80.5% thought we were getting 25. Now, the updated numbers, no one thinks we're going to pause. Only 70% of people now versus 85% of people think we're going to get a 25, and now 30% believe we're going to get 50. Robin, are we getting 50 or are we getting 25?
I still think we're going to do 25.
You think so?
I think that the likelihood of getting the 50 basis point the following month, I think is definitely more on the table.
Hold on. So you're saying 25 and then 50 after?
I think that.
Why not 50 right now?
I just don't think that the number. Here's the thing. Yes, PCE is important, but CPI that's the big one, right? And so if CPI is trending down where we want it to go, starting to head more towards the 2%, it's not like they're not raising rates. It's, we're getting right at that 5% mark, which is their target range, and so they're staying the course. But I will say that it's I don't think it's as dramatic as some people are making it. You know what else is?
Are you a dove, bro?
You know what else is dramatic though?
What?
And what other numbers I'm not happy with?
What? The likes.
The like ratio.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? So
Don't upset Robin.
now, where the hell is our viewers at? We got 105 viewers. Let's bring a call to the viewers, and the easiest way we can call to get more people in here is by hitting that like button. Let's hit the like button for Forrest because he's joining us here in a second, and let's hit that like button for Bitcoin's eventual price movement to $1 billion.
I want to know what the sinners think. Sinners, I'm calling on you. 50 points, 25 points. What do you guys think?
On the next one?
On the next one.
All right, so put a 1 in the chat. You think it's going to be the for certain
I think
0.25, and then put a 2 in the chat. You think we're going to have a 0.5%
I'm going 2, baby.
raise?
I'm going
You
2.
really believe that? You truly want to bet? You never bought me lunch. Remember that one time you were like,
Really? I've never bought you lunch.
no, I'm saying that.
What's up with all those shrimp cocktails, my dude?
Yeah, I do love some shrimp cocktails.
They're so bomb.
Boy, gets iodine poisoning if you eat too much shrimp now.
One time I had like 18 of them. Here's what I wanted to take a look at. I want to take a look at the euro dollar. This kind of gives us an idea of what they think the markets will do.
A lot of ones. Everyone agrees with Big Rob, with the exception of JD Club
Damn,
and
you
Cryptic
guys
Mushroom.
are crazy, bro.
Anthony Barbacoa
Okay,
put in the 2.
hold on, man. You guys think that consumer spending is up, which drives prices up, right?
You can form whatever narrative you want. The CME has been right 100% of the time this last year.
And it's about to be 50-50, bro. So what?
50-50?
It's at 70-30, and it's going to move to 50-50.
Right. You know that thing is real-time data, right? You know, you're refreshed this morning, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Right. Let's bring our guest on, Forrest. Forrest,
What's up, bro?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
how you doing, man? I missed you, bro. I miss you.
Missed
You
you
miss
too.
me? You miss me? Thank you. Do you miss Robin? Don't
Always. Yeah, absolutely.
See how excited he was to miss me and not miss you? Forrest.
Thanks for the awkward intro, David.
You're
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Forrest isn't a guest anymore. He's a friend, okay? He's pretty much part of the channel.
He does this thing every time I walk into the studio. He tries to give me a hug. He's like, I miss you, bro. I'm like, get away from me, man.
You're such a liar with that. Done that like once,
stop.
bro. Once. Forrest, 50 or 25, bro? What are you feeling it? You feeling 50? PC numbers, man, up over 0.5% month over month.
I personally think we're getting 25 and probably just continuation of 25. And the reason being is because I think Jerome Powell has been, first of all, the general trend of inflation is still down. Even though you come in hot, the general trend is that inflation has peaked. Obviously, they don't want it to go back up, but Jerome Powell has repeatedly spoken about their strategy is to get to a sufficiently restrictive rate and then pause, then basically hold there for time. So they seem to be optimizing for the time axis rather than trying to overdo it with rate cuts. And at the end of the day, or rate hikes rather, at the end of the day, the difference between the difference in the effective funds rate the Fed funds rate with a 50 basis point rate hike versus 25. It's not a huge difference. It's a 25 basis point difference. What I think they're going to come out and say is that we're going to keep doing 25 basis point rate hikes, and we're just going to hold it there as long as they need to until they see inflation continuing to come down. Inflation looks like it's peaked, so I see no reason why they are going to overdo it. Also, if they do 50 basis points, they are admitting that they were wrong and that they slowed down too fast, too early. So I think they're just going to keep doing 25s.
Fair enough. Forrest, let me ask you this. Were you a Chuck E. Cheese fan? Did you ever go to Chuck E. Cheese?
I was a Dave & Buster's guy. Chuck E. Cheese was a little, that mouse was a little creepy in the suit, the mouse costume.
Sus, bro.
Yeah, Dave & Buster's was cool.
I feel like if the health department walked in, they'd be like, hold on.
Y'all got a rat going on over here? Well, did you hear what the SEC is doing now?
They're doing a lot of stuff. What are they doing now?
They're ordering Chuck E. Cheese to register their tokens as security. So if you're holding any tokens, Forrest, return them. No, obviously it's a joke.
Is this satire or actually real?
That's
satire, right?
But hey, you know what? The fact that you would even have to ask that question tells a lot about our SEC right now.
I wish the Chuck E. Cheese token would go up in the same way that the cryptos have over the last 12 years, because I got a drawer full of these tokens just sitting there, next to the Canadian quarters. And I'd love to check the price of the tokens and find out that they've 100x. That'd be nice, right?
That would be nice. All right, Forrest. You know what? Let's start with some news, and then we'll get into the charts. And Polygon's looks like it's in a full-on downtrend, and we're going to talk about that. We're also going to look at Optimism. I know that price spiked because of the whole Coinbase. Oh, Coinbase. What are your thoughts about their new layer 2, Forrest?
I think it's a really smart move by Coinbase. I bought Coinbase stock yesterday. Obviously, that's down a little bit today, but as a longer-term play, I think they're setting themselves up for another big revenue stream. There's a lot of implications with this as well. They have 110 million users, and they're all KYC'd. So there's a potential play for them to actually be able to move, not synthetic securities, but actual securities onto a blockchain. Obviously, there's some regulatory, navigations that have to be made for that to happen, but it's certainly a speculation. Also, if you just look at any L2 right now, major L2, Optimism, Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, essentially. Minimum valuations $13-14 billion. Binance Smart Chain or BNB tokens at $48 billion, $45 billion, whatever it is, fully diluted. They are just tacking on an L2, and they have the users to get immediate adoption. As far as I'm concerned, this should be an immediate repricing of $10+ billion to their market cap of Coinbase, which is currently sitting around 15 billion or something, somewhere in that range, 10 to 15 billion. Maybe it was 18 billion at one point. So yeah, the amount of revenue that this is going to bring in is, if you compare to other L2s like Optimism and Polygon and Binance Smart Chain, you're looking at in a bear market, 150 to 300 million dollars a year in fees. And in a bull market, which we would expect to get a bull market in 2024, if not 2025, the next Bitcoin halving. Those fees, that revenue could be well north of $1 billion or several billion dollars for them. So I think they're setting themselves up really, really nicely for the next bull market. And even in the next bull market, you'd expect Coinbase stock to do well because their business is crypto trading. So bullish for Coinbase, in my opinion.
Especially if this new regime of custody, right? Reorganizing and relabeling who is okay to custody crypto. And so people are worried, well, can KuCoin custody my crypto? So Coinbase Prime, apparently, they're kind of in the clear with these new rules that are coming out. So they could be beneficiaries of that. And I think, Binance has such a strong lead in the centralized exchange space. I think this is great for Coinbase. When I first heard the news, my very first question was, please, for the love of God, tell me they didn't issue a token, and which they didn't. But one token that did soar was Optimism. We'll take a look at that. But first, the theme of the show, the IMF I believe this is their last stand to try and either ban crypto or regulate it or throw it into the hands of their faithful. So this is sourced in the block. IMF calls for coordinated action over fears crypto could undermine global monetary system. Which, by the way, guys, the U.S. is the #1 contributor to the IMF, and the IMF headquarters are, I believe, in New York City. Definitely in the U.S., either New York or Washington. The International Monetary Fund took a seemingly tough stance toward growing crypto adoption with a set of recommendations for member countries and a call for a, quote, coordinated response. This is a quote. The widespread adoption of crypto assets could undermine the effectiveness of monetary policy, circumvent capital flow management measures, and exacerbate fiscal risks. Directors generally observe that while the supposed potential benefits from crypto assets have yet to materialize, significant risks have emerged. Like what? Like what? And they are arguing that crypto should not be granted official currency or legal tender status. The IMF cited concerns it had about the impact of crypto on financial stability, financial integrity, legal risk, consumer protection, and market integrity. It discussed a framework of 9 elements that could help member countries, quote, develop a comprehensive, consistent, and coordinated policy response. Rob, is there any inkling of hope in your mind? Well, not hope, but do you think that these countries, IMF, or maybe a majority of the world countries can come together for some sort of regulation?
Positive regulation?
Just anything. Anything in general.
They've put in regulation before on different services globally. So yeah, they'll get it done. They'll put it on the agenda. Now, how long it'll take, that's a question. What it'll look like and who's to benefit the most from regulation. I think it's all going to be at the benefit of central banks and institutions that run the retail banks and hedge funds. Yeah, so it's going to be a bunch of scratch my back kind of situations, right? And I think they're going to drag their feet because at the end of the day, they don't want positive regulation that integrates crypto into our current system. So the monetary system we have now where you have both traditional banking and then you also offer crypto services. They don't want that. They don't want the end user to have option A and option B. They want to make option B as difficult to onboard as possible, and it's scary. And that's what's highlighted. That's why in these congressional hearings you get the most loud-spoken anti-crypto people with a microphone. And because they're trying to scare the public into thinking that this is all a Ponzi scheme, this is all a scam, and this is for nothing. You never hear about the benefits of crypto. You never hear the inefficiencies of the monetary system we have now. In these congressional hearings, it's all about, hey, crypto's a scam. Here's why. Here's exhibit A and B and C. But nobody ever says, hey, well, crypto's trying to fix the problems that we have here in our own system with A, B, C, and D. This is why it's an alternative that works. I'm not saying we need to replace the whole damn system and that crypto just needs to just remove fiat. There's always going to be a place for fiat. But at the same time, there's no change in the stagnant system that is inefficient. And here's a resolution. But the people that profit the most are the people that make the policies, and these people don't want crypto to be adopted and integrated. So they're trying to keep us segregated. And so these people, yes, they'll pass regulation. Probably won't be in the favor of crypto. And even though there's a lot of pressure to pass regulation that is quote unquote fair, they're going to drag their feet. And then they're going to more or less lean it towards the favoritism of the central banks and with these institutions, the ones that profit from the nickel and diming of fees and inefficiencies. So,
Forrest, with this guy, the IMF coming out saying this, we've heard the India's, I believe, the central bank come out and say we have to get global participation in regulating crypto. If what Robin is saying is right, and eventually they are going to come up with something, are we kind of screwed at that point, or how do you see this thing playing out?
I think this is super bullish, and I know I'm like the guy that always comes back to being bullish, but it's like, what was the actual headline again? Could we read that headline again? The
IMF calls for coordinated action over fears crypto could undermine global monetary system.
Fears crypto could undermine global financial or monetary system. Yes, absolutely. That is what it was designed to do. If you read that headline in 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, you would immediately, if you could see into the future of 2023 and see that that was a news headline, you would drop everything and you would put your entire life savings in crypto immediately. Knowing that in 2023 that we have made it to the front lines, that crypto is threatening to undermine the global monetary system. That is exactly what we want crypto to do. So this is just reaffirmation of the underlying thesis behind crypto growth in general. Is it going to be an uphill battle? Yeah, certainly. But at the end of the day, they can try to regulate it all they want. And crypto's always going to find a way to skirt regulations. And yeah, it's not ideal. Hopefully, we find some sort of a middle ground. But ultimately, crypto's here to stay. And it's like, okay, you're going to ban Bitcoin, you're going to ban crypto. Good luck. It's just not going to happen.
They're going to have to ban the internet, so to say. All right, Forrest. Let's jump into the market. So we know the Dixie's up, risk on is down, including Bitcoin, and we just talked about the PCE. What's Bitcoin looking like? What is the chart telling you? And if we're looking to get back in, when should we wait till? What are some levels?
Yes, certainly. So I actually have a lot of charts today to get through. So I will try to go through them rather quickly. I don't know what happened to my trend lines down here. I actually want to turn that one. That's fine. We can just leave that one green. So looking at Bitcoin here, we had a big fire up, big move up after the year-over-year change. And what we're potentially actually in here, and this is speculating a little bit. I want to go to Livermore's speculative chart. This could very easily, in my opinion, turn into an accumulation cylinder. The last one that we saw really play out in a big way was in the oil market. I won't actually pull that up right now, but if we can continue to hold this general trend line here, which would be at around $22,000 if we continue to fall. If we fall another $1,000 in Bitcoin, right, and we can put in something like this, then we could potentially rip up. I still am in the camp that, hey, recession is fairly likely, and that could affect the crypto markets as well. But we actually are seeing a decent case for crypto potentially decoupling. I'll get into that in just a second. But so far, we've not seen bearish structure develop. We talked at length about this bearish divergence and 25K being a resistance level. So it's no surprise that we are getting a correction, especially with S&P 500 tanking a little bit. But overall, we still have a series of higher highs and higher lows. And this is accumulation, but it's accumulation happening in the up direction, which is usually quite bullish. I know you guys have talked about this chart in particular on this channel. It's about that time. I mean, it's if you look at previous market cycles, which I personally think is a little bit dangerous to do because our sample size here is 2.5, right? It's about that time that we start to see Bitcoin ramp up again. Does it mean that we're not going to get further lows? Of course not, right? We had the bear market rally and then a crash and then COVID, and stuff can happen. We could get a recession, and that could really mix things up here. But I'm in the camp that increasingly that the bottoms are very, very likely in, and maybe they get tested again if we go into a deeper recession, but or a recession in general. But overall, I'm in the camp that Bitcoin may be on its way up and crypto may be on its way up, and we just we have to wait out these negative times in the S&P 500. Then you've got China, which is the talk of the town recently, opening back up its economy. Money supply for China starting to push upwards despite the U.S. money supply declining recently. Overall, we see a pretty decent correlation here with Bitcoin, and China's becoming shockingly more crypto friendly, which I actually think is hilarious that China bans Bitcoin at the top, and then they become crypto friendly in the depths of the bear market, right? Almost as if they're guiding their citizens towards the market cycles, right? Okay, yeah, now you can buy. Now that crypto's in a bear market, you can buy, but we're going to ban it as soon as it's overextended. So,
I mean, is that
potentially a really solid signal there?
If you're a Chinese citizen, like, would you be happy?
I mean, I would prefer my freedom, certainly, but I mean, hey, maybe they're looking out for their citizens here in terms of the Bitcoin market cycles. Who knows? Speaking of the Chinese economy, Shanghai Composite Index, so like Chinese stocks, becoming increasingly correlated with Bitcoin, getting a really nice bid here. Now, this is a couple of days old. I think we've seen a little bit of a crash. So this is a Chinese stock ETF. We're starting to fall back downwards a little bit. But keep in mind here, this very well may be a bottoming pattern in Chinese stocks. And I'm only looking at Chinese stocks because they seem to be correlated with Bitcoin recently, right? And that's kind of the narrative we're getting, potentially putting in a what could be a very clean inverse head and shoulders and or bump and run. So keep in mind, if we can hold this support region for Chinese stocks and start heading back upwards, crypto could get a bid, especially if Chinese money is entering the crypto space. Yes, inflation is up. I'll go up over here to inflation. It's starting to tick back up a little bit. This is the Fed funds rate down here. This is inflation. The general direction for inflation is down. Now, I will note that even when inflation hit 14+% here, it still had these periods of time where it just ticked back up a little bit. It paused, right? The general trend is down right now. And I think if the Fed just decides to ramp up with a 50 basis point rate hike, you get a situation where you could potentially see something like this, where you overshoot to the downside. And I know that sounds crazy right now to a lot of people because inflation's like, it looks like it's going back up or it's not dropping as fast as we want. But again, this is, if you look at historically when inflation starts to turn over, you get these periods of time where it just kind of pauses. It takes a break for a couple of months, 1, 2, maybe even 3 months, and then it continues to rise. If you have sufficiently restrictive Fed funds rate, you're going to start to see inflation tick downwards, and you don't want to get this whipsaw, this whipsaw, because that's not good for the economy either. So covered a lot there. The other thing, I've got plenty of other charts. I know we want to do DXY here in a second, and Optimism as well. But you start to get this case here where, look at Bitcoin versus the S&P 500. S&P 500 in blue, Bitcoin up here. We were just looking at this chart. The correlation is now negative. So normally the argument is that Bitcoin and crypto is correlated, or at least for the last year and a half, people have been saying that's highly correlated with the S&P 500. And obviously it wasn't over here, but that was due to the FTX collapse. What is it particularly that is driving this decorrelation with the S&P 500 right now, where the S&P 500 is crashing and Bitcoin's actually moving upwards? Negative correlation. My best guess would very likely be Chinese buying pressure. That's the only thing we can really point to, in my opinion. Just in general, though, yes, the S&P 500, we want it to recover. We want the economy to do well, because that does make it a lot easier for Bitcoin to rip upwards. You can see when the S&P 500 was going up, Bitcoin was ripping up. Now that the S&P 500 is slowing down, and in this correction, this increase in Bitcoin price has slowed down into accumulation upwards. So obviously, we want the S&P 500 to do well. In order for that to happen, in order for risk assets in general to do well, we want to see the DXY go down. So far, I'm going to switch to a linear view because it's a little bit cleaner. So far, we've seen this steep decrease in the Dixie, right? So we had this big exponential move up. We had a clearance pump, and then we slammed back down. This is a very common reversal pattern where you get your uptrend, your clearance pump where you get out of hand, and then you fall back to your trend line and slam through your trend line. You break through it on the backside and fail the retest. So far, we haven't necessarily failed the retest. DXY is trying to revalidate this trend line and call this a deviation. However, if we fall back down here, that is actually quite bearish for the DXY and quite bullish for risk assets. So this is a really pivotal pivotal point. The other thing to keep in mind here is we potentially have a bearish ascending wedge here. This is, a pattern that you commonly see break downwards. It's not 100%, but we saw it over here. We had this bearish ascending wedge. I think it was that's not super clean. Yeah, it was still a bearish ascending wedge. I just didn't draw it quite clean enough. But this could very easily turn around and break back downwards. Now, doesn't mean it has to. If we see DXY reclaim this trend line and start moving back upwards again towards these levels, yeah, that's bearish for the S&P 500. That is bearish for crypto. The other thing you have to keep in mind is, yeah, inflation's high and it's not dropping as much as we want it to drop. But at some point, you have to pick your poison. You have to pick your poison. Do you want to move into dollars, right, and be chipped away at to the tune of 5, 6, 7% per year? Or do you want to jump in line with a potential trend and use crypto as what could be a potential safe haven for the next 1 to 2 years? So as long as you have a long enough time horizon, crypto is a very fast growing asset class that just happens to be in a bear market right now. So I do think that we'll get another bull market out of crypto. I think we can get that bull market in the next year or two, regardless of what kind of recessionary pressures we see in the economy. So I think people just I think it's in people's best interest to kind of lengthen out their time horizons. Last chart before we get into optimism. This is the S&P 500.
Real quick, but before you move on, let me give you a scenario. Okay, this just came to my head. Let me ask your thoughts on this. Let's say Bitcoin follows a 4-year cycle, right? Leading up to the halving, we absolutely pump, and at the same time, the stock market's bleeding. Recession is here, but crypto and Bitcoin are going up. Could that be the moment where people realize and understand, hey, this is not another risk on play. Crypto is a different sector, and maybe it'll bring even more money in? When people are seeing Bitcoin and crypto move against recession trend, against stock market bleeding trend, could that essentially just, stack on top of each other and essentially like give us a bull market like we've never seen?
Yes, potentially. I mean, I think people are going to become increasingly desperate to find returns. And if the S&P 500 does not deliver the returns that it has historically, people are going to search in other asset classes. And one of the things that crypto has going for it is the Bitcoin halving cycle. And that's something that I personally believe, rain or shine in the overall economy, we could be in a recession, and I still think that there's going to be people bidding into the Bitcoin halvings. Why? Because we've seen it as such a consistent pattern for sparking a bull market. And if people are suffering financially, what are they going to do? They're going to try to find a way to stop suffering financially and to make money. So if the ideal play to make money is to just play the Bitcoin halving cycle, I think we're going to see people crowd into that trade. Regardless of what the rest of the economy may look like. Do I still think there's going to be some decent correlation between the S&P 500 as a risk asset and equities and tech stocks and crypto? Yes, I think there's going to be large periods of time where the two are correlated and treated as risk assets together. But if risk assets in general are performing poorly, however, the timing of the Bitcoin halving has arrived, I do think that Bitcoin and crypto in general can begin to decorrelate. I mean, at the end of the day, everything is psychological, and as soon as people accept that crypto is a different asset class, people may treat it a little bit differently.
Okay. Just an intriguing thought. Just like you said, people are always finding, where can I put my money to make money, even if we're in a recession? And if you're looking at Bitcoin, and it doesn't care if there's a recession, doesn't care the stock market's bleeding, and it's just, 40,000, 45, 50, 60, 100, whatever the case may be, and all of a sudden there's a shift in sentiment and a shift in logic, and people saying, hey, dude, like, this is the only place where people are making money right now. I'm going to start moving my assets there. You get enough of that, and it just like a snowball effect. And next thing you know, crypto is looked at as a legit place to invest your money in. And now, instead of just being a few million of us, there's hundreds of millions of us. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your, I know with TA, it's kind of like a flow, but if I don't say something that comes to my mind, I will forget it.
No worries at all.
Go ahead. I know you were going to,
no worries at all.
You said you had some other charts, so go ahead.
Yeah. I think we'll just do S&P 500, Optimism, and then maybe Stacks, and then we'll round it out there. So the S&P 500, super simple. I mean, I've got two trend lines here: our uptrend line, our downtrend line. We are kind of testing the crux of both of these trend lines at the same time right now. So maybe we have a little bit more downside, but 3,900 to 4,000. Obviously, 4,000 being our psychological level that we're just hovering right underneath. I expect to get some sort of a bounce here. So we've got, four quadrants, 3 and 4. Obviously, holding this trend line and staying in quadrant 1 would be ideal. Moving into quadrant 2, we've probably got sideways chop, and I would imagine that crypto can actually do halfway decently there. If we continue to see this kind of the Chinese economy do well, and we see that narrative continue to develop. If we fall into quadrant 3, that is obviously quite bearish. We could still potentially put in a double bottom here, hold that support line, or maybe even a higher low. But then we have to battle to get back up above this trend line that we've just kind of defeated. And then obviously quadrant 4, somebody has invented time travel, and we really can't go into quadrant 4 anymore. Optimism. Let's check Optimism. Oh, the other thing on S&P 500, we have a high degree of likelihood that we print bullish divergence here in the near future. So just something to keep in mind. It's not guaranteed, it's not confirmed yet, but there's a high degree of likelihood. Optimism, here's the problem with Optimism. As soon as we go into a bearish market trend, I expect Optimism to fall down quite a bit. And the reason being, if we go to the fully diluted valuation, it's all the way up here at $13.2 billion. It's a very low circulating supply. That means that has a very high inflation, and people are very incentivized to sell off their rewards, their token unlocks, their emissions, whatever it is, their airdrops. While Optimism is phenomenal technology, as showcased by Coinbase's decision to build Base as essentially what will be, I believe, an Optimism fork, it's just the risk is very high. Not only is this extended to the top side, which it could remain extended to the top side. We see it's been extended for quite some time, and it's been traveling up these red easy bands. It's a bull market for Optimism, but it's just there's too much risk. Emissions start coming out. We start seeing the S&P 500 continuing to fall. We start to see Bitcoin lose some key levels. All of a sudden, we're in a situation where this has a lot further to fall than a lot of other cryptocurrencies do at this moment in time. And upside, in my opinion, is fairly limited here because this is already at a parity, fully diluted valuation, $13.2 billion. It's already at parity. Essentially, it's actually a larger fully diluted valuation than Polygon right now. So Optimism has actually flipped Polygon. Like, this is a very, very high valuation. And if we flip bearish, it's probably coming down 70+%. Whereas there's some other stuff, I don't think Ethereum is, gonna fall 70% from where it's at right now. I mean, that would be all the way down at $400 or $500. So Optimism is, quite frankly, just it's too high risk for me right now. Could we get another leg and run up to $4 or $5? Yeah, if things get crazy, but the risk reward here is just not ideal. So I hesitate to even carve up some levels here. I would just look for a mean reversion if you're looking to get back in. I'd look for a drop to this 21-week simple moving average at some point in the future.
Awesome.
And then lastly, Stacks. This was actually a play that we put into the research hub. This was based on the hype around the Bitcoin ordinal NFTs. And Stacks is essentially, it's like a layer 2 for Bitcoin, and is kind of secured by the Bitcoin network. It's very interesting. We put out that research or that play, that one pager of analysis on February 11th. This has gotten a really, really nice pump. But again, in my opinion, very overextended. I would personally not be touching this until as a buy until it comes back down to the 21-week simple moving average. We're very, very extended here, and I think this play is over. Right? For all practical purposes, there's no reason to be buying at 70 cents when you could have bought at 28 cents a week ago.
That's true. And I actually had one more chart, if you don't mind, Forrest.
For sure.
And it's Polygon-matic, right? So,
yeah.
And real quick, there was some news. So Polygon, while you pull that up for us, I'm gonna go over the Polygon article real quick. Polygon hit by a 157 block reorg despite the hard fork that was aimed to reduce these sort of issues. This is sourced from protos.com. On Wednesday, Polygon experienced a blockchain quirk affecting 157 blocks, or approximately 5 minutes worth of network activity. The interruption was down to a chain reorganization, or reorg, a problem that Polygon has been attempting to fix with a hard fork. Reorgs occur when the network nodes fall out of sync with each other and two distinct chains of blocks are produced concurrently. This may be due to a bug, network latency, or even malicious activity. When nodes sync once again, one canonical version of the chain is kept and the blocks included in the invalid fork are ignored. The following day, Uniswap founder Hayden Adams publicly called out the network, referring to both Wednesday's disruption and another 120 block reorg back in December. Now, the founders of Polygon said that this is because of a specific bug and that their efforts are currently underway to address the issue. So just from a narrative standpoint for us, because before we look at the chart, is this cause for concern? I know we give Solana a lot of crap, their network going down. I know this isn't network going down, but blocks stop being produced. That's an issue. Is this concerning to you? What are your thoughts? And then let's get into some, if we're looking to buy Polygon, where we should wait for.
Yeah, sure. So is it concerning? Yeah, a little bit, but the narrative and the reason and the investment thesis behind Matic has never been that they're the best technology in the space. If you want to buy the best technology in the space, you probably want to buy Near Protocol, arguably Avalanche. Arbitrum is really, really solid. They don't have a token yet. Optimism, really solid technology, but again, they have a tokenomics issue, right? The narrative in the investment thesis behind buying Matic has always been their business development team is just everything else pales in comparison. They are bringing in huge partnerships, and I don't think that they're going to stop bringing in huge partnerships because they have this bug or this issue on the chain. So again, if you're only investing in cryptocurrencies and blockchains based off of the purity of the decentralization or the absolute best technology, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities because the market as a whole does not hold everything to that high standard. Some people do, and you might, and as an investor, some people might be those people that do hold their investment strategies to those very high standards. But again, you'll miss out on opportunities because the general market sees, oh, Disney partnered with Matic, buy. Nike, Adidas, JP Morgan, Matic, buy. Right? They don't necessarily get caught up in these little intricacies of issues with the blockchain. That's what the essentially the blockchain nerds are getting into. Now, as far as a place to potentially buy, I am still in my short. So last Friday, I talked about you mentioned something about Matic, and I was like, hey, that my Matic short actually just filled. Still in that short. Off of this local low, we had our 2x short margin pressure level at 149.44. We have our big psychological level at $1.50. That those two things in confluence gave me the confidence to put in a short here at around $1.49, $1.50, and so far that's paid off. We've gotten a really nice correction. I haven't actually checked this trend line to see if it's broken and turned bearish. No, we're testing it right now. So realistically, now would actually not be a bad time, especially with all of this demand over here and this prior resistance. Wouldn't be a terrible place for me to close that short and just call it a day. If we obviously break back below this trend line and start heading downwards, then we could go lower. If you're looking for trend continuation, now's a fine place to actually place a buy with, pretty tight. This would be a very short-term trade, right? I'm not looking to buy Matic at $1.27 and hold it for a long period of time. But if you just wanted to bet on a retest of $1.50, right, with tight invalidation criteria underneath this trend line, I think that is a fine play to make. You're trading along with the trend, despite the bearish news, despite the S&P 500 being down. Yeah, you might be taken out, but again, you only have to have with a 3.5 to 1 risk reward ratio. You only have to be correct here about 25 to 30% of the time to actually be profitable. So for a shorter term trade, I think Matic here is okay. I think it's fine. But just know, probably want to get in and get out. And if we break these levels, just, cut your losses pretty quick.
Amazing. Forrest, you're the man. Rob, let me ask you.
I appreciate that.
Did the whole Polygon reorg, is that concerning to you?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, why?
I don't know. I feel like they haven't had any track record of issues, and
This is the second big one in 2 months.
I know.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not concerned either. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I think that haters are just, especially like big homers of other projects. You can take Cardano, you could take XRP, the Bitcoin maxis, and that's the drum they beat. And yes, you can look at the likes of Solana, where hey, they had some fundamental issues that they're working through, and so everyone always wants to draw a comparison to that. But remember, this is still new technology. Polygon came out, was it 2020? I think they launched in 2020, and they're only 3 years old. Like you're not gonna ever create any new technology that has billions of dollars worth of investment, that has millions of people actively using it, and not have any hiccups. It's technology.
So
Nothing's ever built perfectly from the ground up.
So then why are people so hard on Solana?
Well,
including myself.
I don't know, man. I don't have an answer for you.
I'm trying to be fair here.
But the bigger target you have, the more people are gonna. If you're number 80 on the CoinMarketCap list and you have a reorg issue, nobody cares, right?
No.
Now you're Solana, you're in the top 7 in market cap, and you've been out for 2 years, and you have a network that goes down for 20 minutes. It's like it's the end of the world. Now I'm not saying that that's okay. I'm just saying that who's over here beating that drum? Who's over here blowing it out of proportion? And you know who it is? It's Maxis, bro. It's Maxis. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. I at the end of the day, like, for me, don't lose money. Like, don't have a bridge vulnerability. Don't have, this whole thing where Cardano's nodes, 40% of them went down and it came back up like 30 seconds later, whatever it is. Like, none of this stuff is relevant, right? Nobody really cares. I mean, honestly, it's just people trying to attack what is there already. Now, what's important is don't lose value. Don't lose people's money. It's okay if you go to check your bank account and Bank of America's website's down. It's not okay to check your bank account and all your money's gone. So you get what I'm saying? It's not. It doesn't need to be. Ideally, you would like it to be 100% perfect, sure, but you ain't losing people's money. Good. Everything else, noise.
I agree. Forrest, before I move on to another article, I want to touch on your video you did for us on Monday. It was about the Blur token, the Blur marketplace. I've reached out to you and I've asked you about airdrops. Let me tell you something, guys. This man puts so much time into research into things that even I sometimes don't have time to do. And so he talks about, we made this play in our research hub. He writes up long-winded research papers all the time. I believe every major airdrop, every significant one over the last few months, I believe you were a part of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
The big one I missed was almost 100%. I missed the Aptos one, which was a big one to miss. But yeah,
okay.
Everything else so far is come in pretty decently.
And it's all been through research and just time and resources. And if you want insight into that research, Forrest does have a website. You can subscribe. You can get into the Discord, get access to the research hub. And if you want to do that, support Forrest and support the channel. There's a link in the description of this video. So Blur, I read an article this week that there's a season 2 airdrop coming, right? And essentially it's 100% loyalty. So delist your NFTs on every other marketplace and list them solely on Blur. And we're going to airdrop more tokens. Well, the concern is it's diluting the token by 50%. So what have you heard about that? As not sure if you still hold the Blur token. If you were, though, are you concerned? Do you want to see this airdrop? What are the positives? What are the negatives?
Yeah, so I sold the vast majority of my airdrop. Still have a small amount. It wasn't like a massive life-changing amount of money, but I'll take $1,000 any day of the week for basically, no upfront investment. Yeah, look, Blur is they are curb stomping OpenSea right now, taking up a ton of market share. They're basically saying, remove all of your NFTs from OpenSea and any other exchange, put them on Blur, and we're going to pay you to do that with our token. Yeah, the token price is probably going to drop with some sort of when you dilute it and when you have those emissions and you're just airdropping free tokens to people. So people are going to turn around and sell those, drop the price down. But what that actually does is it forces people, or it incentivizes people to list on Blur, and they take up an extreme amount of market share. It's like 87% of the NFT market right now, or as of earlier this week, is on Blur. 87% of the transaction volume.
Wow.
Which is significant. So you can actually drive your token price up by taking a ton of market share and increase your value. OpenSea raised at a valuation of like $13.3 billion, and Blur's token valuation or fully diluted valuation is like $2 or $3 billion. So and now keep in mind that $13.3 billion was in the heat of an NFT bull market, but if you're dominating the entire NFT ecosystem and the entire NFT market, you demand a pretty high valuation on your token. So it's just a major advantage that they have over OpenSea right now, because OpenSea doesn't have a token, and they're not paying you to operate on their ecosystem or on their platform.
Do you think it's and of course this is just personal opinion, and I'm Rob, and feel free to chime in too, Robin. You guys think it would be more beneficial for OpenSea to do their own token, or to be a publicly traded company?
I don't know what the benefit of being a publicly traded company. I mean, obviously it's more like a seed round, but it doesn't mean it doesn't make you regulated. Well, if anything, it puts more constraint on you, and you're already in a market that is uncertain. And so
remember, the person that
here's the thing, at least with Coinbase as an example, like, at least when you talk about Coinbase, they're an exchange, so they have comparable services out there. You have a broker dealer. You have there are parallels that are publicly traded companies that you can model from when it comes to being publicly traded. There is nothing like an NFT website that facilitates trades that's already a publicly traded company. And you're in a sector that is already clouded, confused, murky, and you have the SEC, who is actively pursuing lawsuits against anybody and everybody at the turn of the week. Well, for me, you just keep your head down and you build. And so
should they do neither?
Well, where are you getting at with this? Like, I don't understand what
we're seeing. All these new NFT marketplaces.
Here's the thing: you want to run a successful business, sell NFTs, and take profit from the transactions.
That's what they've been doing.
That's it. Why do you need it? But here's the thing:
why market share taken away?
But David, why do you need to become a publicly traded company, or B, you sound like the guys that are scrambling for bankruptcy? Well, let's launch a token. Like, no. What you need to do is improve on your business model that you have. If you're losing market share, offer a better product. You know what? Make your fees compatible. Comparable.
They can't, because that's their only source.
I understand. They're going against somebody else that has a token. But at the end of the day, you need to offer something. You can't just all of a sudden print your own freaking token and call that a solution. At the end of the day, you want to be a successful business, you need to build your community and have a good product. And if somebody's outworking you, you need to go to the drawing board. That's all it is. And making another token or trying to raise capital by being a publicly traded company ain't the answer. Look inward, offer a product. You know what? What's the biggest gripe with OpenSea? Well, they have no customer service. They have high fees, and you can start there. How about you build a customer service? You try to connect with the community. You say, hey, we're listening. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but trying to just scam more money out of your users is not the way to to repair your image, because I think people are just fed up with OpenSea, and that's how we got where they're at. So if they freaking hit the gas pedal on that, it's going to have the opposite effect.
What do you think, Forrest?
Yeah, one of the problems though is that I forget what percentages. It's like the vast majority of this trade volume and the vast majority of this revenue is actually coming from roughly 5,000 traders. So basically what Blur's been able to do is they've been able to launch this token, and just like OpenSea, like it's an absurd amount of revenue that comes from just a very, very small community of traders and community of
Are we talking
NFT
about OpenSea
whales.
or Blur?
Both. The entire NFT market, like the vast majority of the trade volume is executed by 5,000 people. 5,000 entities, 5,000 wallets, whatever you want to call it. It's like an absurdly small amount of wallets that are actually driving the vast majority of the trade volume. So those whales, basically, they're competing, and they like, you see OpenSea just drop their fees for a limited time to 0% because they've got to do something to bring this revenue back. But it's actually like in a bear market right now, it is a very small amount of people, and they're just like battling back and forth, cutting fees, racing to the bottom over 5,000 people. Give or take. So those 5,000 people are like, oh, I'm a high volume NFT trader, and if I do that on Blur, they're going to pay me thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm going to get thousands of dollars in rebates on fees and whatnot just through this airdrop token. So it's like really, really, really difficult for OpenSea to compete with that without dropping a token, which I actually don't think they're going to be able to do. I think you dropping a token is extraordinarily risky in this regulatory environment. And you're talking about, like, what is the token actually going to be used for? What does that do in terms of diluting the investors they've already brought on? I think OpenSea was a first mover. They enjoyed a virtual monopoly last bull market, but it's the same thing that we've seen happen with regular like stockbrokers. It's just like the trading fees got lower and lower and lower. It's just a race to the bottom. Robinhood eventually came out with no trading fees, free trades, and they blew up because of it. And I think we're just in a race to the bottom to very, very low fees. And we're even seeing the reverse incentives. Not only are we not going to charge you a fee, we're going to give you a token for free. And right. The market will assign some value to that token based on our market share. And it's just a vicious battle. I am so glad I am not in the NFT marketplace space, because it is very uncertain. I think it'd be very difficult to continue to battle for market share in that place.
Yeah, they say competition breeds excellence. And so you need competition. It inspires the other companies. OpenSea, right? Mm-hmm. Like Forrest mentioned, they had essentially a monopoly the last bull run. They raked in all this money, and now they're forced to change. They're forced to make decisions. They're forced to look and make their product better. And so that is what you get from competition. And so I think overall it's a good thing. All right, I want to move on. I brought up Voyager earlier. Well, I'm going to bring it up again. This is from CoinDesk. The SEC is objecting the Binance US Voyager deal, alleging sale of unregistered securities, unregistered bankrupt securities as well. A $1.02 billion deal by Binance.US to purchase assets of defunct crypto lender Voyager has been opposed by New York and federal finance regulators, who said in a February 22nd filing it could prove discriminatory and unlawful. Elements of the proposed deal may also infringe the law, given how the plan and what is that word? Envisages. Given how the plan envisages repaying Voyager's former customers. The SEC said, under the deal, quote, the transactions in crypto assets necessary to effectuate the rebalancing, redistribution of assets to account holders may violate the prohibition in Section 5 of the Securities Act of 700 years ago against the unregistered offer, sale, or delivery after sale of securities. An SEC filing said, citing in particular the VGX token issued by Voyager. The regulator also cited media reports that Binance is bracing itself to pay penalties for past infractions of money laundering and corrupt law as evidence that the deal could become unfeasible and impossible to consummate. Pretty much saying, hey, Binance got to fork up all this money. They're not going to have the money to buy Voyager. So what is it? Is it because they're securities, or is it because you don't think they can afford it? Robin, I'm going to ask you first. What is going on, bro? These are people who lost their money. You're supposed to invest or protect, right? Why did you not do this before they went bankrupt? They go bankrupt. A company's bailing them out, bailing out the customers, and you're saying no.
Well, here's the thing.
I hate Gary Gensler.
Who was? It's BS. Yeah, I think you should just let it happen. But who was going to buy Voyager's assets first? FTX.
T.
And why were they going to do it? Because they were holding the FTT token and they were going to have a liquidation sell pressure, which not good for the FTX before they went under, right? And so they had a motive. And so I'm sure the SEC's looking like, what is the motive for Binance? What are they up to? Because we saw another company just a few months ago try to do the same thing for their own interior motive, not just to turn a profit, but to gain the system. And so it's only 3 months later, you have another company who was an integral part to this whole collapse trying to buy up assets. And they're like, hey, man, fool me once, you're here again. We're at the same crossroads. And so I think that's where we're at. And you know what, man? Honestly, I think for the users, the best thing, you might not be happy with it, but honestly, the best thing is just let this thing go to bankruptcy court, liquidate the assets, and split up the funds to the debtors that way. Instead of having another company come in, buy the assets, pennies on the dollar, make a profit, and then pay back the users in a shorter time period with even less returns because another company comes in with a motive of making profit. Binance ain't doing this out of the goodwill of their heart. They're doing it because it's a business opportunity to make profit. So you have another company coming in, profiting off of the locked up funds. We don't need anybody else profiting.
Isn't that what the lawyers are doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you want another company coming in and taking more off the top.
I'd rather have Binance take it off the top and give some of it back.
Why not just go to court, liquidate, and then split it up?
Well, if that was the case, they would have done Chapter 7, but they did Chapter 11. They're trying to reorganize. If they say no and this thing keeps going, we're talking years before anyone even gets a cent back.
That's what you signed up for. I'm sorry.
That's what who signed up for.
When you decide to leave your crypto on an exchange, when you decide to lock up, when you decide to buy crypto, that's what you sign up for, man. Take it off and put it on a hardware wallet if you don't want any exposure or any risk to losing your assets. Look back in history, man. Mt. Gox, Bitfinex, the list goes on and on. And if you just blindly throw your cash out there and it gets compromised, you know what? For you to receive the funds back, you gotta wait. That's how it is. And I know everybody wants to fix anything. You get fat as hell and you want to lose weight, you just want to take a pill instead of working out. You know what? You took the risk and you didn't, and now you got to pay the price if it got compromised. You can't just hope somebody comes in, buys it, and fixes everything. That's not how the world works.
Horace, please chime in.
So it just keeps going back to I think the SEC is trying to cause damage. I don't think they're trying to protect investors. I think they're trying to cause damage. Like their primary incentive or their primary goal is to cause as much damage and slow down the crypto space as much as possible. Yes. So them getting in the way of this deal, getting in the way of this is just their way of doing that. Where were they before Voyager blew up? Nowhere to be found. You barely heard. The only thing the SEC was ever in the news for, really, in the entire bull market was XRP. That's it. And maybe because XRP could have been the largest threat. But once the entire market blew up, now all of a sudden, once FTX blew up, now they're backtracking. They're trying to do two things. They're trying to save face and say, "Oh, we're on top of this. Lots of risk in crypto. We're on top of this. We're regulating it. We're saving we're protecting investors." When in reality, I don't think that's their goal at all. I think their goal is to slow things down and cause damage, and that's what they're trying to do here. Is it ideal that Binance is coming in and swooping in to make a profit? No, I agree with Robin there, but at the same time, is this probably the fastest resolution for Voyager customers and the best resolution on the table for the immediate future? Yeah, probably. So, not a fan of the SEC.
For an agency that continues to say investor protection, investor protection, investor protection, investor protection, investor protection, investor protection, they don't give a shit about investors. They don't. They don't.
I agree with you on that. Yeah, I'm just saying.
And I agree with Forrest. This is an attack on crypto. We've seen it. We're continuing to see it. They had a freaking scam under their nose that it took like 2 Twitter users to find the freaking paper that said money flows into Silvergate from people, and then instead of going to FTX, it goes to Alameda. That paper was found in like 10 seconds. And the SEC was meeting with these guys, and they're supposed to protect investors. Nothing was done. And now after the fact, they come in, no, these are assets. No, this is this. You can't do this. You got to. No, it's complete BS. I agree. They're attacking our sector. What will happen? Who knows? But hopefully Gary Gensler's on his way out because I can't stand the guy. Forrest, our next topic of conversation is Dapper Labs. Did you hear the news about the judge? Now, it was not a ruling. Here's what happened. Dapper they got a class action lawsuit against him, okay? Dapper filed a motion to dismiss that class action lawsuit, and the judge said, I'm not going to dismiss it because there's possibility that these might be securities. So the lawsuit can continue. That's where we're at right now. What was your reaction, Forrest, when you heard about that? We already talked about that this week, and then I have an update I want to share, but I want to get your take first.
Wait, I'm a little bit confused and a little bit out of the loop. Dapper Labs is in trouble with SEC?
Okay, so NBA Top Shots. So there's a class action lawsuit against NBA Top Shots saying that unregistered securities, right? Which we see all the time now. People lose money. They want to sue the platform. They want to sue Coinbase. They want to sue these blockchain companies. So a class action lawsuit was filed. Dapper came in and said they want to dismiss it. The judge ruled 3 days ago, I'm not going to dismiss it because these can constitute securities. It's a possibility that they can be securities based on the Howey test. They said, they were using the rocket emoji and the chart emoji and the money emoji, which, by the way, now that I've talked about it, here was the tweet, okay? Here was the tweet that the judge referenced. It's absurd. It's absurd. This is from NBA Top Shots. This was back in, it doesn't have the day here, but all hail, Pranksy NFT scooped up this legendary LeBron James moment from our Cosmos series, Rocket. This is a new record-setting acquisition for any NBA Top Shots so far. Chart emoji. And on the bottom here, it gives their stats. 2 million in marketplace transactions, 10 million in sales in beta. And this is what the judge referenced. A federal judge ruled that these emojis objectively mean one thing, a financial return on investment. So, right?
Oh, wow.
Bro, what world are we living in? I don't understand.
Like, is there like a law textbook that has like the translation for emojis and how it applies to SEC law? Like, I'm just curious.
Well, there you go, Forrest. What do you think?
I'm questioning whether or not this judge took money from somebody. It's just so bizarre. Like this is no, seriously. Like I would question whether or not this judge got paid off. Reason being, like, all right, is LeBron James rookie card a security? Is a baseball card a security? Is a hockey card, whatever? Like. This is so bizarre. This is an NFT of a moment in time. It's media. It is art. It is something that happened. It's a video. It's just like, how do you call that a security? That is a unique, non-fungible item. It is one of a kind. It is a piece of art. Like, do you get in trouble if you own the Mona Lisa, which I know it's like a museum that owns it, but let's say you own a really, really rare piece of art. Are you going to get in trouble if you go out and like start, using rocket emojis and the cash emojis and say this thing's going to go up in value, you should buy it now? No, you're pumping the bags of your art investment. Like, or is art a security? It's like,
yeah,
this is just ridiculous.
I was on that rant yesterday when this news broke, and my liken was to, you have material collectibles and you have digital collectibles, and you could get a picture of a stadium, or a picture of the game. They have photos of like Kobe Bryant on the floor hitting his last shot, and it's signed by him, sold by the team.
eBay needs to register as a securities platform, and then right? A broker dealer.
You have the game-worn jerseys. Game-worn jerseys are sold by the team as well, by the organization. and those are unique items that and so I don't see how it's any different than any other memorabilia. I mean, honestly, I could see the argument for securities in the financial sector where people just like print tokens and then like control them and whatever. Like, I'm not saying that our space is 100% free of this whole securities law thing. But one thing that just makes zero sense and zero correlation is NFTs, especially in the NBA Top Shots category, where it is so likened to memorabilia that I don't know what else you could classify it as. It's literally just a collectible. No different than a football helmet, a hockey puck that you get from like, it's the same thing. It's just a moment in time 100%. In the game. Like, get it, dude.
Guys, and I mentioned this is not a ruling. This is far from over, but I wanted to share something Jake Travinsky said, who is the head of the Blockchain Association. He's also a lawyer. It would be absurd for U.S. court to rule private NFTs as securities. A couple things I've highlighted. The Blockchain Association's chief legal officer said it would be absurd if they ruled digital assets on private blockchains as securities. Travinsky was among a host of lawyers on Twitter to reiterate that the judge's denial of the motion does not mean a ruling has been made, only that it's facially plausible. This would mean this would turn every major video game developer, event ticketing platform, travel rewards program, etc., into a public reporting company regulated by the SEC. Do I really have to say basketball cards are not securities? The judge ruled in the Dapper case that the plaintiff pled enough evidence that if all the allegations are true, that there is a securities violation. If all the allegations are true, what are these allegations? I haven't looked into it in depth, but this is where we're at, guys. If this doesn't tell you that they are after our sector, they are trying to regulate it and put it into the hands of the people that they want to have their hands on. I don't know what it is. Going after stable coins, trying to say stable coins is security. Going after collectibles, saying those are securities. I don't know, like, did Gary Gensler get picked on when he was little? Does he have a bone to pick with someone? Is he trying to impress someone? I don't understand what it is, but the goal of the SEC is to protect investors and oversight on financial markets. That is not what they're doing. They're doing the complete opposite. So, yeah. Any other comment on this situation, guys, that you want to talk about before we move on?
I'm good.
The plus side of this is this should be, no pun intended, an easy layup win for the NFT and crypto space. Like, there's just absolutely no way that the SEC wins this one. So, count it as a W.
I don't know, Forrest. Like, there's no way. We've seen class action lawsuits, same thing, just get completely dismissed. And this here, the judge is saying no, it can continue. Is it really like that far gone or that crazy to think that this might have some legs to it?
I see no world in which this can, be that NBA Top Shots can be declared a security. If they are, I think people will literally just like get out of the U.S. I think that'll just it'll drive like, I'll leave the U.S. honestly. Like, if NFTs become a security, and then that like basketball cards become a security, and my Pokemon collection from when I was 12 are securities, like, I'm out. I'm just gonna leave. Like,
where are you gonna go? We might join you.
Like, anywhere that doesn't have NFTs as securities. I don't know. I hear Yu-Gi-Oh cards are popular in Japan. I don't know.
Have you guys ever been to Japan, Robin or Forrest?
No, I'd love to go there.
I would love to go to Tokyo, man. Forrest, you ever been to Tokyo?
I have not. Nope.
Me neither. All right, Forrest, anything you want to leave us with before we let you go?
Guys, we're testing support. It's uncomfortable in the market right now, but we have not necessarily broken trend to a degree that really, really worries me. But it's definitely something that we need to keep an eye on. I'm in the camp that we get maybe one more leg out of this bear market rally. Fingers crossed. Hope is not a great investment strategy. Regardless, we are at an uncomfortable support juncture for the S&P 500, but we just want to be paying close attention. And if we invalidate and go lower, we got like an hour or two left in this day, in this trading week, next week, keep an eye on it. It's something to be aware of, but no reason yet to just hit the panic button. So just keep an eye on things.
Awesome, Forrest. Wise words from a decent man. That was also a rap song. Forrest, thank you so much. We appreciate you, my friend. We love you. Thank you again, guys. Go subscribe to Sistine Research on YouTube. Go follow Twitter. Go follow Forrest on Twitter at 0xstacker. And if you want more alpha, want more research that takes a lot of time that you might not have, feel free to use the link in the description of this video to sign up for Sistine Research. With that being said, Forrest, thank you so much. And we will see you on Monday.
See you guys. Thanks for having me
Take
on.
care, brother.
Have a good one.
All right. Love Reddit. You know, ChatGPT, man, this thing is pumping. And there was actually one thing I want to talk about. This is from Crypto News. ChatGPT is helping this new project take crypto search to the next level. So think of a cross between ChatGPT and Google, but only for blockchain, Web3, and crypto. And so the name of the company is Kaido. They are currently in fundraising, 5.3 million in a seed fundraising round. So their search engine will optimize search results by using similar techniques to Google and Bing, such as ranking, topic mining, and personalized recommendations. They're shortening the path to finding answers from 30 minutes or an hour into 10 seconds. So something could be big. So ChatGPT is blowing up. And so, you know, you listen to hip hop, right, Robin?
Yes. Are you talking about the rap song again, bro?
What? It's cool, man. All right, so I use ChatGPT. So one of my favorite.
He was so excited about this.
One of my favorite rappers is Tupac Shakur. All right, I grew up listening to Tupac. He's amazing. I love the guy. Way better than Biggie. Right? You agree there? Tupac or Biggie, bro?
Yeah. I agree.
Tupac?
I agree.
That's right. And so I said, ChatGPT, if Tupac came back to life in the current circumstance of where the world is at, write me a rap song. It did. But first, it said, as an AI language model, I can't claim to have the creative genius of the legendary Tupac Shakur, but I can certainly give it my best shot. Here's my attempt at a Tupac-style rap on the topic.
Are you gonna rap this?
No.
Hold on.
I'm not rapping.
Right. Kyler, you want to hear him rap?
No. I'm not rapping.
Hold on. I got some beat for you, bro.
Let's do it.
You ready? You gonna rap this thing or what? What's that?
Y'all want me to rap it? Y'all want to hear the rap? Yo, it's Tupac back from the dead, talking about some issues that are messing with our heads. COVID's in this air, got us all in scared, but we got it straight strong, so we're not scared. COVID and inflation got us in frustration, but we gotta keep on pushing, keep on fighting in our nation. Inflation's rising up, got the prices going crazy. Gotta watch our money close, it's getting hard to make it lately, but we can't let it bring us down, can't let it take control. Gotta stand up for ourselves, fight to reach our goals. COVID and inflation got us in frustration. COVID and inflation got us in frustration. That'll do it for the video today, guys. Go check out all our social medias, all the other fun stuff. With that being said, Kyler! I'm not even gonna do my outro, bro. We done. Have a good weekend. Put a 1 in the chat if you like the rap. I was gonna be a rapper. I'm actually a remix rapper. Anyways, guys, all jokes aside, thank you so much. We love you. We hope you had a great weekend. We hope you had fun. We did. We'll see you guys Sunday on Robin's Rant and Rumble stream, followed by Ramble stream, and then followed by Monday morning, our weekly starting off the week live stream. Have a great weekend, guys. We'll see you next week.